So what I started doing now is I started sauteing grill my sausage and my chicken on the grill. And you see I did both. I did the sausage first, created a little bit of fat drippings and oil from that, and then grilled my chicken. And now I'm taking, deboning, and now putting the bones and skin and rough parts left over from my thighs and my drumsticks. I don't like white meat in my gumbo. I like that dark meat, that darker flavor. I actually poured Guinness over the chicken while it was grilling to flame it up, give it that moisture. And now I'm gonna create a chicken stock that'll turn around and be the stock on top of my roux for my gumbo. So stay tuned. You make roux without stinking up the house. You do it on your outdoor grill, the flat iron. And we want to get that a chocolate brown. You just start with about a cup of flour. Let it brown a little bit in toast just while it's flour. Then slowly add your olive oil or butter or grapeseed oil, whatever you like to use for your roux. And then get it to a point on a low heat. Just kind of move it around. It's a great way to get a good chocolate brown roux that you'll see here in a minute when I'm finished, without stinking up the house. All right, check back in later. So you can see my roux is getting a darker brown. A lot of people, when they do their roux, they stop when it gets golden brown. I'm looking for that darker chocolate. This is like a milk chocolate flavor. You're gonna get much more nuttier, sweeter, more complex flavors by having it darker. But you got to be careful. You go too dark, you can burn it. So be careful. What I do along the way is I just pick it up and I take a little taste test right there like that. That's good. Now we have the roux getting to the consistency and color that I like. It's thicker, not as oily. Now at that stage, when it gets to this color, I add a little bit of well, not a little bit, probably a bunch of Cajun seasoning, whatever you like. Tony, Chachere's, Slap Your Mama, whatever's gonna work. Some good Cajun seasoning gets that flavor inside there. Now we're basically gonna transfer this stuff to a bowl. And then we will add to our gumbo once we start it going. See that short? All right, now I've done about 2 chopped onions, about 3 stalks of celery, finely chopped or diced, if you will, and then bell peppers. And I used a mix of green peppers and yellow sweet peppers to give it a different taste. As far as the onions, like I said, 2 large onions, and as far as the celery, about a cup of celery and a cup of the sweet peppers. So we're going to get that going, get it translucent. Now they call that the Holy Trinity in Cajun cooking: onions, celery, and green pepper. I just put a little difference on it, putting a little orange in there for some color. Once you got your Holy Trinity kind of translucent, I added that basically diced chicken and sausage into the Holy Trinity: onion, celery, and bell pepper, green pepper, sweet pepper mix. And now I'm going to add my roux and coat it, flip it over, and then we'll drain chicken stock and then add the chicken stock as the broth. You see my roux, it's a dark chocolate brown. As I was saying, we're just going to try to lift it out of the bowl, one hand there. That goes in there. And we'll get the rest of it, and then I'll put the lid back on. It'll get some steam and moisture. I'll be able to mix it around. just to get that roux going a little bit, I'm going to add a little bit of my good old chicken stock, freshly made. And then we're going to stir that up. Okay? Get that in there and work it over. Kind of difficult with one hand, I can't hold the pot. But you get an idea. See how we're working that roux mixture in there? We're going to coat all this really good, let it simmer for about, just with, you know, those 1 or 2 ladles of chicken stock. We're going to let it simmer, even though it's thick. I might add a little bit more because I want it to simmer. I don't want it to burn. So we're going to add, so using 1 cup of flour for your roux, I would say when you start this process, and I'm going to strain the rest of it out when I add the rest, but I would say you want to add about, it looks like 4 is the right ratio of ladles to get it to thick enough where it'll coat, but also thin enough to where it'll simmer. And you know what? Looks like we're going to need 1 more ladle. That's some good stuff, I guarantee. I have to try that there. Ooh, baby, that's good. Now we're going to strain the rest of that chicken stock into a smaller bowl, and then we'll add it to our gumbo that's simmering right now. Okay, we've been having our base gumbo simmering for about 30 minutes. I'm going to add the remainder of my chicken stock. So right now it's got a very strong chicken forward flavor, but after this has been, now I've got it set down to a low, and we're just going to do a low simmer for a good hour at least. Low and slow, longer is better, as you probably know with all things. And then when we add, I'll add probably a little bit more of this water by just running a little bit over this and letting it kind of marinate through that chicken bone that's remaining there, and we'll add that to it. But we're going to get it going right now to a low simmer. Make sure we're stirring the bottom occasionally, because I got it at a pretty thick consistency right now. But we're going to see after it's simmered for a while if we need to add more liquid or not. All right. Okay, so about halfway through the simmering part, about 30 minutes actually, we're going to add one of my secret ingredients that I'm going to share with you, because Rambo the Handyman shares. Little red wine. It don't matter what red wine. I would just say something that isn't sweet. This happens to be a red blend from my buddy Mike Igo, from his tasting that we did at Igo's Pour Decision, P-O-U-R Decision. But anyway, well, we got to taste it first, I guess. Oh, that's a fine wine. I shouldn't be, I should be using box wine like Justin Wilson. So I just put probably about 4 to 6 ounces. Less is best always with all ingredients when you're cooking, so you can see what the taste is like without overpowering it with wine. Now with it simmering, that alcohol will boil out, but it's going to give it a very complex flavor. People are going, well, what is that? What is that? And I ain't going to tell them, but I told you. Okay, that gumbo's been simmering for a little bit over 2 hours. The last thing I'm going to do is I took some cooked shrimp already with the tails off and kind of split it in half, turned it off, and threw into the gumbo. And just gonna let it rest. And it's been resting now for about 30 minutes, so the shrimp would soak up. The reason why I kind of cooked it separately, you don't want your shrimp to cook down. Also, the reason why I split the shrimp in half is so that you basically, when you go in and you get a scoop, you're gonna get a little bit of shrimp, chicken, and sausage all in that gumbo. You see that right there? Because that's what you want to be able to do. Now, what I did is I already made some rice. You can eat this gumbo alone, but typically it's eaten over rice. And so we're gonna put that, put a little more liquid. And a lot of times you can add a gumbo filet powder, which is basically saffron, to your gumbo, and then it thickens it up. But I'm gonna try it without it. We're gonna give it a little bit of mixed y'all here. Now I left this pretty unseasoned hot because I'm making this for a contest tomorrow. But I want to get a piece of chicken, a piece of sausage, and a shrimp. And let's see what that tastes like. Oh, here we go. Oh, my goodness. Stuff is great. I guarantee it. Enjoy it. Check out my other channels. Ramble the Handyman says, have a great Mardi Gras and be safe out there.